Love is supposed to feel like peace, like coming home to someone who understands your heart without you needing to speak. But sometimes love turns into something darker, heavier, and painful, and we call it toxic love. Toxic love doesn't start that way. It begins beautifully, with passion, connection, and excitement, until slowly control replaces care, fear replaces freedom, and love becomes a battlefield of emotional chaos. In toxic love, you start losing yourself while trying to keep someone else happy. You begin to shrink your own light just to make them feel comfortable. You walk on eggshells, afraid of saying or doing the wrong thing because deep down you know that even your smallest mistake could lead to an explosion of anger, guilt, or silence. Toxic relationships are not defined by constant fights alone. They are defined by patterns of control, manipulation, and emotional imbalance that slowly drain your confidence and self-worth. When someone loves you conditionally, only when you act, speak, or think the way they want, that's not love. That's control disguised as affection. At first, you might confuse obsession with passion, jealousy with care, or control with protection. But healthy love never needs to cage you. It doesn't silence you. It doesn't make you feel small, and it never punishes you for being yourself. The hardest part about toxic love is that it's often invisible to the one living inside it. You justify the pain, make excuses for the behavior, and convince yourself that every relationship has problems. You tell yourself it's your fault, that if you love harder, forgive more, or stay patient, things will change. But the truth is, love should never demand that you lose yourself. Healing from toxic love begins when you stop trying to fix what broke you and start focusing on rebuilding yourself. You have to acknowledge that love alone cannot heal toxicity. Awareness and self-respect can. Every time you ignore your boundaries for the sake of peace, you teach the other person that your limits don't matter. Every time you accept less than you deserve, you normalize pain as a part of love. But love is not supposed to hurt that way. It's supposed to build you, not break you. The first step to healing is acceptance. Accepting that this relationship is not healthy, that no matter how much you love them, love cannot survive where respect doesn't exist. The second step is courage. The courage to walk away from what's familiar, even if it's painful. People often stay in toxic love because they fear being alone, but solitude is better than being emotionally suffocated. You have to remember that the pain of letting go is temporary, but the pain of staying in a toxic cycle lasts forever. Healing also means forgiving yourself, not for loving the wrong person, but for not knowing better at the time. You were only trying to love deeply, and that's not a weakness, that's your strength. Forgive yourself for the times you begged for attention, for believing their words over their actions, and for breaking your own boundaries just to keep them in your life. Healing requires you to stop looking back and start asking yourself, what did I learn? You learned that love without respect is slavery. You learned that peace is more valuable than passion. You learned that real love never asks you to betray yourself. And when you start healing, you begin to reclaim your power. The power that was always yours but got buried under manipulation, guilt, and emotional dependency. Reclaiming your power means choosing yourself again. It means rediscovering who you were before the relationship, your dreams, your joy, your voice. It means learning to be alone and still feel whole. It means setting boundaries not to keep people away but to protect your peace. You start realizing that love doesn't mean losing yourself. It means growing together while staying whole. Toxic love thrives on fear, while healthy love thrives on freedom. The moment you start choose freedom, the toxic pattern begins to die. Healing takes time. Some days you'll miss them, some days you'll hate them, and some days you'll feel empty. But every time you choose peace over chaos, you heal a little more. The day will come when you no longer crave their approval, when their absence no longer feels like a wound but a lesson. That's when you know you've reclaimed your power.